Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you're all doing fine. So we'll be starting with the next part of our lecture today. Before I begin with the new topic, I'll just give you a quick review of what we did in the last 2 days. So initially we began with cell theory. We talked about cell theory and how cell is the fundamental and the most basic unit of life. Then we moved on to the structure of the cell. And as I explained, that structure of the cell means as you see the cell under a light microscope, right? And in the structure of the cell, we studied a few similarities and a few differences. Now, wherever you wrote down the differences, add one more point that we skipped that day. And that one more point is the presence of the chloroplast. Or I'll just quickly write all the differences again. So here, differences between animal and plant cell, right? So animal cell here and plant cell here. So the first difference was the position of the nucleus, right? So in here they have a central nucleus, whereas here the nucleus is pushed to one side. The second difference was the vacuole. Animal cell has small, many, and temporary vacuoles. Whereas the plant cells, they have a large, central, permanent vacuole. Right? The next difference was centrioles. Centrioles present, whereas in this case, centrioles were absent. Right? Here, point number 4, last, chloroplast was absent in the case of animal cell. No chloroplast, and I hope you all know what the chloroplast does. Chloroplast is the organelle that helps in the synthesis of food in the case of plant cells, right? In this case, the chloroplast is present. And the last one was plasmodesmata. Plasmodesmata present. Whereas here, the plasmodesmata were absent. Number 5, plasmodesmata absent. The point where we got cut off last time was exactly this point. I was explaining you how to write the differences. See, when I'm talking about the nucleus here, I've mentioned about nucleus here. I did not say that nucleus is present and I mentioned a vacuole here, right? The points have to coincide. If you write different points, you'll not get marks. If you'll write chloroplast absent and you'll write here like plasmodesmata absent, something like that, different points, you won't get your, like your marks. 0.5 marks are already not given and 1 whole mark would be deducted for both the points. You lose both the points, right? Okay. So today we'll begin with the ultrastructure of the cell. As I've been repeating many times, what do we mean by the ultrastructure of the cell? What is the ultrastructure of the cell? The ultrastructure of the cell is the cell as it is seen by the help of an electron microscope. When you view the cell under an electron microscope, the structure that is visible to you, that structure is termed as the ultrastructure of the cell. So today we'll start with the ultrastructure of the cell, discussing all the organelles one by one. And then how the electron microscope works, how this is different, I'm saving that up for some other lecture that we'll be talking about in the practical lecture, right? So electron microscope uses a beam of electrons, right? The light microscope uses light that is made up of photons. So the magnification and the resolution of electron microscope is about 500 times greater as compared to the light microscope. So that means electron microscope can give you an extensive view, a very clear view of the cell. Not just the cell, the organelles present inside the cell, they are visible very clearly under the electron microscope, right? So the images as taken by the electron microscope, they were studied, and then we came up with the ultrastructure of cell or ultrastructure of all the organelles as well. So we'll begin with the ultrastructure of nucleus. First of all, what is ultrastructure? Structure of cell as seen under an electron microscope. This you need to remember. So today we're beginning the detailed study of organelles. I want you all to make points because it is written in the book, but in the book it's written like in the scattered form. So please, when you have to revise, if you will make your own points, it will be a lot easier for you, right? So we're beginning with the nucleus. The first organelle that we will be talking about is the nucleus. What it looks like, what it contains, what are its functions, how it works, and where it is present, right? Its position we have talked about already. Nucleus is the central organelle in the case of animal cells. It is pushed to one side in the case of plant cells. So this makes up your first point of the nucleus. It is present in the center in the case of animal cells, and it is pushed to one side in the case of plant cells, right? Okay. Now, if I draw a tiny cell here on one side, right? This is the nucleus present in the center, right? This is the nucleus as seen by the light microscope, right? This is the nucleus as seen by the electron microscope, right? So, this is the cell membrane or the plasma membrane, and this outside boundary is termed as the nuclear envelope, right? This is termed as, you all already know, this is the cell membrane, and this boundary is termed as what? Nuclear envelope. So this is the nuclear envelope as seen by the electron microscope, right? So this boundary is called what? Nuclear envelope. Now make a note somewhere on the side. Why am I using the term nuclear envelope? Why I am not calling it nuclear membrane? I'm not writing nuclear membrane, right? I'm writing nuclear envelope. In some books, when you were studying it in O3, it said nuclear membrane as well. That is not wrong, but technically now it will be considered wrong. Why? Because nuclear envelope means a double membrane. A nuclear envelope. Cell membrane is a membrane because it's singular. Or you call it plasma membrane. You will not call it cell envelope, right? When you use the word envelope, that means a double membrane, right? So because nucleus has a double membrane around it, hence we call it what? A nuclear envelope, right? So nucleus is surrounded by a double membrane, right? A double membrane structure. Now, what does this membrane do? It separates whatever is present inside the nucleus from the cytoplasm, right? Just like the cell membrane. The cell membrane separates the cell from the environment, right? Because of the cell membrane, you will have no cell membrane, or if a cell has no cell membrane, we do not have a cell. To have a cell, you need to have what? A cell membrane around it. Just like that, if there is no nuclear envelope, there is no nucleus, because this envelope is the stuff or the material that is separating the internal nuclear material from the cytoplasm, right? So the difference between cytoplasm and whatever is present inside is created by this nuclear envelope. So you can say that this nuclear envelope is protecting the material present inside the nucleus, right? So the first part that we studied about the nucleus is that it has a nuclear envelope. And what do we mean by the term envelope? It means that it is what? A double membrane. So when it's a double membrane, you call it a envelope. I hope I'm clear to everyone. The next point, what else is present inside the nucleus? Now, whatever material jelly-like fluid is present, that jelly-like fluid is called nucleoplasm. Just like you had cytoplasm here, the area from the cell membrane till the nuclear envelope, that is enclosed by, or that is contained, like cytoplasm is contained in that area. But within the boundary of the nuclear envelope, you will not call it cytoplasm. Now you will call it what? Nucleoplasm. Also make a point somewhere. There is a difference between cytoplasm and nucleoplasm. What is the difference? Nucleoplasm is more granular. There are more tiny granules present in the nucleoplasm as compared to cytoplasm. So I'm writing it down here. It is more granular than cytoplasm, right? So what we're doing is studying the ultrastructure of the nucleus or of the cell, beginning with the nucleus, right? I told you the first point was that nucleus is the central organelle in the case of an animal cell. Nucleus is pushed to one side in the case of the plant cell. Then I told you that the organelle making up nucleus, the part making up nucleus, is the nuclear envelope. Nuclear envelope is the part that separates nucleus from the cytoplasm, right? We call it an envelope because it's a double membrane. So you can say that nucleus is surrounded by two membranes, collectively termed as what? Nuclear envelope. And whatever organelle will have two membranes, you will use the word envelope for it, right? Okay. Then inside the nucleus is present what? Nucleoplasm, right? Just like cytoplasm, it's just a little more granular than cytoplasm. Also because it is within the boundary of nucleus, that therefore it is termed as what? Nucleoplasm. I hope I'm clear to everyone till here, right? Then one more thing. The nuclear membrane or the nuclear envelope has pores. It is definitely selectively permeable because the membrane is made up of the material that the cell membrane is made up of. But because there are two membranes, not allow every material to enter and every material to leave. These are guarded by proteins, just like you have guards at the gates, right? They'll not allow everyone to enter. Just they'll check, right? So just like that, these guarded nuclear pores have protein molecules. Protein molecules are guarding these nuclear pores. So whatever has to leave the cell, it has to first of all pass through those guarding proteins. If they will allow, only then the material can leave the cell. If they'll not allow, the material will not be able to leave the cell, right? So for now, nuclear pores help in the exchange of material, in the entry of molecules, bigger molecules, from the cytoplasm to the nucleoplasm, and the exit of molecules from the nucleoplasm back into cytoplasm, right? Oh, okay. अच्छा, रीना थी? बंद कैसे हो गया?